More on this major development in the vaccine timeline. I'm joined now by White House senior advisor Cedric Richmond. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, President Biden says there will now be enough vaccine doses for all American adults produced by the end of May. Give us a sense of just how significant that development is, and does it change the timeline, in your view, for when the country could get back to normalcy, which Dr. Fauci and others have said would more likely have taken place at the end of 2021?
Well, look, we certainly hope so, but we still need our fellow Americans to do those things that will help us beat the pandemic, and that is to wear masks, that is to stay socially distanced, that's to make sure you're washing your hands and doing all of those things. And, you know, that is a big piece of beating the pandemic. And the last thing, of course, is maybe the most important thing, is to take the vaccine when you have an opportunity to do that. And we believe if we do that, we hope that we can do it sooner rather than later.
We saw the mask mandate dropped in the state of Texas, and yet the CDC head has asked that people keep up their vigilance. How do those two pieces of communication conflict, and how do you balance those messages?
Well, look, we're still going to ask the American people to wear masks. We're still going to ask businesses and encourage them that they can still mandate masks to come in their business. And so, look, Texas governor did what he thought was best for his state. We're doing what we think is best for the American people. And we know from the last administration that wearing masks, being socially distanced, is the best way to prevent people from contracting COVID-19, and that's the best way to save lives.
So let's turn to the COVID relief package. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said today that your administration's $1.9 trillion relief bill could come to the Senate floor as early as tomorrow. Does having vaccines fully available by the end of May, this new timeline, does that lessen the need for so much emergency aid? I mean, for example, could extended unemployment benefits be scaled back if people are able to get back to work more quickly?
No, we don't think so. Look, we didn't do a package that goes in perpetuity. We did a very limited package because we were concerned about the cost, but we did a package that would allow us to defeat the twin crisis that we have going on, the economic fallout from the pandemic and the health fallout. So we didn't just throw a bunch of gratuitous and extra things in there. This is a bare bones package to beat this pandemic and meet the needs of the American people. So we're hopeful, and we're as aggressive as we can to make sure that we produce as many vaccines as we can to make sure we get them distributed. We've added over 1,000 vaccinators around the country. So we're doing our part, and we're going to keep doing it. But we do need Congress to do their part and pass the American Rescue Plan so that we can do everything we need to do to defeat both of these crises that we're faced with right now.
And as you know, Democrats have faced criticism for not negotiating with Republicans enough to get bipartisan buy-in for this relief bill. As all the past COVID relief bills have, does the White House see any cuts to this bill that could help address Republican concerns? I mean, for example, they've argued that state and local governments are not hurting as much as expected in their budgets, so could cuts to aid there bring down overall costs and maybe gain some Republican votes?
Let me just tell you, the last 5 bills that you mentioned that were bipartisan all had one thing in common. They were too little, too late, and they never gave us a chance to get in front of the pandemic. We just kept chasing it, and American people kept dying. And so what we wanted to do was meet the needs of the pandemic and meet the needs of the economic crisis. And look, we have entertained, we have engaged with, we have hosted Republican senators at the White House to see if we could get to some meeting of the minds. We're at $1.9 trillion. They came in at $600 billion. And then the question becomes, who do we leave out? Do you want to take out the $20 billion that goes to veterans, the $130 billion that would go to get our schools open? Do you want to take out the $1,400 that we promised to give to Americans to help get them through this, or the unemployment insurance? We're not willing to leave people behind. And I'm sure they don't want to leave out the nutrition, the money in there to make sure that people can eat. For the first time in this country's history, 1 in 7 people report that they don't have enough food to eat. And so we are being very intentional about helping this country through this pandemic. And to the extent that anybody wants to give us a real offer and engage in conversations, we're willing to do that.
I want to turn now to the southern border, and we're seeing a major influx of migrants, including unaccompanied minors. Your administration has faced some criticism for deploying those temporary facilities for processing and housing those migrants at the border, while other critics say a more lenient approach on immigration might just invite more migrants. Does the administration have a handle on this, or is there concern that it might spiral into the same sort of border crisis that we saw in 2019?
Well, we're still picking up the pieces from the last administration's broken immigration policies or lack of immigration strategy. And just like Secretary Mayorkas said yesterday, that we are dealing with it. And we did open a temporary facility, but it's a different environment right now. It is a retooled facility that has educational needs, mental health counseling. It is a more nurturing environment. But let's think about where we are. We can't house people the way we used to house people a year ago. We're going to make sure that they're socially distanced. We're going to make sure that it is a COVID conscious atmosphere. And to do that, you can put less people in facilities, and therefore you're going to need more facilities right now during the short term. But we are using it absolutely as a temporary facility. We want to get those kids in there. We want to get them processed, and then we want to get them over to HHS, where we will make sure that we find family members for them to go with, or other shelter or guardians for them to live with. And that is the humane way to do it. That's the way we're going to do it. And we are working very hard to make sure that those kids don't stay in those temporary shelters long at all.
Our thanks to you, White House Senior Advisor Cedric Richmond. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.